Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go through the new features in this release. So we knocked out two features on our roadmap. The first one was alerting to webhooks. Webhooks is an alert option. So now in addition to sending texts and emails as your notifications, you can also have Tactical send out a webhook, which you can fully customize. So we'll get right into it. Let's do a live demo. So first, where to find webhooks, settings, global settings. There's a new entry here called webhooks, and let's add a webhook. We're gonna do a Discord demo first, so let's say Discord test. And I've got a Discord server here. I've already created a channel for this, and I've already created a webhook. I'm just going to, so we go to edit channel integration, webhook, and then I'm going to copy the URL and paste that here. And Discord does expect a post request. Of course, you can use these common REST methods. We got your request headers. We've put it by default JSON because most APIs will expect JSON, but of course you could change this to whatever you want. And for the request body, this needs to be a valid JSON payload, and again, it can be whatever you want. For Discord, the minimum that you need something called the username, and we'll just say foo. And then you need the content, which we'll say is bar. And we can test this in real time. So we'll do a test here. I'll get to this in a second. For now, we're just going to say none. We'll click run, and we can see our username foo, content bar, and then we see the request body here. And if there was a response, it would appear here. There is no response from a Discord webhook, but for other things, there might be. And of course, you have access to all of the magic variables like you do in scripting and reporting inside your webhook. So we could do something like agent.hostname here, and we could say foobar, the client name is agent.site.client.name. And then when we test, we'll just choose one agent to test with. And then we'll see that the name of the agent is here. Foobar, the client name is client1 because this agent is in client1 over here. Of course, you can also access custom fields. So custom field 123, which doesn't exist. I'm just showing you. You can do that. You can do client dots custom field, whatever, global dot whatever for your key store stuff. And as well, you'll notice it's called a URL pattern is because you can also do stuff like agent dot hostname or whatever. So if you're familiar with our URL actions feature, it uses the exact same pattern matching. So whatever you can do with URL actions, you can do here in the URL pattern. So how do we actually use this to alert us? So we've got some new docs written up on this. You'll find this in alerting, and then there's a section called send a webhook. And then we have a link to another section in the docs where it shows you how to actually create the webhook, and it has some examples here. So we're going to do a demo using this this payload here. This is going to be like to simulate an agent going offline, and we'll get an alert in Discord. So let's copy this example and put it in our request body. So this is going to be for agent overdue alerts. So you see here we have agent.overdue, which is going to be replaced by whatever the setting is on the agent. Let's call this Discord agent overdue. And we'll create another one actually for when it comes back online. So let me just save this really quickly, and save this, and then we'll create a new one. So we'll say Discord agent back online, and we'll say agent is back online. Yeah, and we'll get rid of this. And then let's just, we have like I think I have something called the API key is global.samad API key, just so you can see like it does work with other things as well, like global stuff, custom fields. So we'll save that. Next, we need to create an alert policy for this. So we'll go to Settings Alerts Manager. We'll create a new policy called Discord Agent Overdue. And you'll notice this interface has changed a little bit. So the default is still what it used to be, which is run a script on an agent. And now there's two new options. You can send a webhook or run a script on the tactical server, which we'll get to a little bit later. But we want to send a webhook, and we'll choose the Discord agent overdue for the alert failure setting, because agents going overdue is the failure. And then when the agent comes back online, which is the alert resolve setting, we'll choose send a webhook, and we'll do Discord agent back online. And because this is an agent overdue setting, we only need to keep this checked. This could also be done for script checks and tasks, which we'll get to in a little bit. So we could uncheck these. This is only for overdue stuff. So we'll hit. That's it. We don't need to worry about these. We'll hit submit. Oh, one thing I want to mention. So for the resolved setting is optional. You don't have to have a resolved setting. You could just, if you want it to be notified only on failures, that's fine. So you could just click here, just choose any one of these to reset it, or just leave it blank. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to put it back because I do want to be notified when this comes back online. So we can see the failure action and the resolved action is listed here. And of course, this isn't applied anywhere yet. So we have several options. We could, apply it globally right here. We could do it at the client level, we could do it at the site level, we could do it individually if we assign this alert template to an automation policy. We're just going to do it for this demo, we'll do it at the client level. So we'll assign this client this alert template, and let's make sure that it was applied. So if we look here at the policies, we'll see that it did inherit that alert template. And now what we'll do, let's take the agent offline just so we can see if we can get this to send us a webhook. So we'll stop the service first. And then this is just the default. It's set to 30 minutes. We don't want, obviously we're not going to wait 30 minutes for this to go offline. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually override the last seen column in the database. So this is just obviously for this demo. Let's just say that this last checked in last month, which is obviously more than 30 minutes ago. We'll save this. If we refresh, we'll see that it's now offline. Last response was June 11th. And then there is a background task that runs once a minute that will actually check for agent offline and send an alert. But we're not going to wait. I'm going to trigger that manually, and I have that open on my laptop on another screen over here. So let me trigger that. Now watch the Discord here, and let's see if it does something. So I just ran it, and yep, there it is. All right, here we go. Dell Win 11 agent hasn't checked in for 30 minutes. And here's that embed stuff that we added in our JSON payload as well. So now let's make this come back online. So again, I'm not going to turn the agent back on. I'm just going to fake the data here. Let's just say today and right now. We'll hit save. So it's back online, and wow, that was we got lucky. I guess the background task ran exactly right before we did that, so I was going to have to manually trigger it. So yep, there it is. And of course, you noticed that there was that API key I was talking about, which is this thing here. And I was just using that as an example of what you can access custom fields and global stuff inside of your webhooks. Let's do another demo. Let's say you wanted a webhook to be sent when one of your script check fails. So let's set up a new webhook. We're just gonna copy the URL from this because it's the same. So we'll say Discord script check failure, and let's see here. We can just use a generic, we can use an alert.message, and if you want to know all the variables that you can use, we have a reference right here. There's some examples here, but this is not everything. You can actually look at the source code. So for example, if we look at the alert model, you can see all these things that you can access. Same thing with the agent. Just with the agent, you have all of these fields. So we were just going to use the where was it? Alert.message. We'll just use this. We still want to know the username. Let's just keep the agent host name so that we know what agent it is. And for the content, we'll just print out the alert. message that's generated by tactical. So we'll save that. Let's create a new alert template. So we'll say script check Discord, and Discord script check failure. That's the webhook we just made. I don't care about resolve settings right now, and we only want this to run for checks. So we'll hit submit, and then let's just change the alert policy on this client. We'll change it to the one we just created. Save that. And I've already created a script called this script fails, just exits one PowerShell script, and we'll just add that in here. So let's make sure that so the alert template is now script check Discord, good. And let's add that script here. This script fails, save it. When we run it, we should see something here. Let's see, run the check. Yep, there it is. Dell 111 has a script check, this script that fails. Okay, yeah, that I know. We need to fix that, but now you can customize that to whatever you want. I was just using the built-in message, but of course you can make that whatever you want now. So of course you could do the same thing for your automated tasks. You would just set up a task, and then in here you would choose tasks for the action. I'm not going to go through that right now. There's one more thing I wanted to go over, and that is how to open it, open a ticket when something happens. So we've just added a demo with Zamad, which is like an open source ticketing system. We've got some instructions here. I'm not going to actually go through this. I just wanted to show you what is possible. And of course, it doesn't have to be Zamad. It could be any ticketing system or anything that accepts an API request. Dinger actually has set up a he literally just set this up for our testing for this feature. We don't actually use this, but yeah, you can see he was playing around with it here, and you can do all sorts of things. These are all created by tactical webhooks, so that's also possible. That's why you were seeing earlier I had this my API key here. We were playing around with that. And that's pretty much it for webhooks. Of course, we have some like a Microsoft Teams example here, Slack, but yeah, you can literally alert to anything that accepts a webhook or an API request. The first feature that was added is the web terminal, and you'll notice this terminal button here. We click on it. It is disabled by default, and you'd have to enable it globally. So if you go to global settings, you'll notice this new enable web terminal button. So click that and save it. And now it is enabled, and we have a real-time shell into our tactical server. So this was just added mainly for convenience. Obviously, you can just SSH into your server, but if you just wanted a quick way to get into your server, you could do this. So we can run any command as if we were just SSH'd into the server. Does run as the tactical user. So some of you are going to want to use this feature to run the update script. I'm just going to say do not do that, and this will be in the docs as well. And the reason you should not do that is because the update script will stop the services, and of course one of those services is the same service that runs this web terminal. So you're gonna basically kill the process that you're in, and yeah, things are not going to go well. So don't do that. Just do it the same way you've always been doing it from an SSH session. And just to show you what I mean, so the actual service name is Daphne. So if we do a systemctl stop Daphne, and you'll see that we've just terminated, and I'm typing and nothing's happening. So yeah, we'd have to, and then now if we try to open it again, yeah, it's not going to work. Alright, I went ahead and restarted the service from an SSH session. So some of you are probably already thinking this. You're thinking, oh wow, this is a pretty dangerous feature, right? Because you are now exposing the command line of your server from a web interface, or normally you probably already have SSH locked down, in your firewall by IP or whatever. So that is the reason why it is disabled by default. There is a new role that was added So of course, super users will have, if you have the feature enabled globally and the user is a super user, they'll have that feature available to them. For limited users, users that have a role that are not super users, there is a new permission that was added, which you can see here, use the server web terminal. So if you want to give your limited users access to this, which you probably don't, but you would have to explicitly grant them permission here. So you can configure that per role. Of course, you can also just, if you decide you don't want to use this feature or you don't think it's safe, you can, of course, disable it completely. So now it is disabled. So one last thing on this feature, there is a way to disable this from the file system through an override. And I added that because, of course, I keep saying that it is a dangerous feature and you should really treat it with caution, use it with caution, enable it with caution. And so let me show you, let's just enable it just so I can get back to the terminal. And of course, this will be in the documentation as well. I just wanted to show you. So if we edit the local settings file and we add this variable disable web terminal equals true, and if we restart the these services, and this is okay because I restarted it, I didn't stop it. So now if we refresh here, and we'll see that it is disabled even though from here it shows that it is enabled. So this is just a command line override, basically, in case somebody accidentally left it enabled here, you can be certain that it is disabled. And what this actually does behind the scenes is it actually causes the code to not even be loaded. So there is literally zero chance that this feature can be used or exploited or anything. Another feature from our roadmap that was added is this add option to run action from tactical server and alert manager. So previously you could run a script on an alert failure resolved action, but the script would run on the agent, and of course if the agent was offline, or if the alert was the agent was offline or something, obviously the agent can't run scripts when it's not working. So what would happen was a random online agent would actually be picked, and then the script would run on there. But obviously that could be a security issue. Like if you didn't want scripts running on other customers or whatever, then there was no other way around that. So now you can actually run the same script on the tactical server. So let's do some live demos to show you how it works. Create a script here. You'll notice a new test on server button. And for server scripts, we always need to specify the path to the binary or interpreter that we want to use in the shebang at the top of the script. If we don't, it'll yell at you. It'll say shebang is required, and so we need to, because otherwise it won't know what language or binary or interpreter you're trying to use. So let's do bin bash, and then we'll say hello from bash. Hello from bash. And someone's going to yell at me for not doing this. Whatever, same thing. Whoop, forgot the there. And you might have noticed that I left it as PowerShell, and that's because when it comes to server scripts, so this actually is only for syntax highlighting. It doesn't actually determine the language that's going to be ran. If I just mentioned that that's determined by the shebang. So let's change it to shell. We'll get syntax highlighting. I could do the same thing with Python. Python 3. Can't type today. Python 3. Alright, it's still shell. It's still going to work, but no syntax highlighting. And if I change it to Python, we'll get nice syntax highlighting. Same thing, it'll still work. Because this is the tactical server, we can actually use the Python that comes with tactical, which is located in RMM API env bin Python, and you'll notice if I do the same thing, it is actually now 3.11.8 instead of 3.11.2, right? Because if we do here, which Python 3, that's the Python that comes with Debian 12, but this is the Python that Tactical installs, and of course it has, stuff like it has all the it has requests and all the other third-party libraries. So you might want to use this one, just so that you have a lot of third-party libs out of the box. So what else can we do? We can use what else is on Tactical Server by default. Well, we have Node because we install Mesh Central, so we can do. Let's see, where the hell is Node? I think it's just in user bin. Yeah, user bin Node. So user bin Node, and then we could do like hello from JavaScript. All right, do that. And I guess we could use Deno because Deno is, especially we get the syntax highlighting, so we could do that. What else? I mean, you could use Perl if you wanted to, although what year is it? Why the hell would you use Perl? But I don't know, maybe you want to use Perl. Let's see, how do you do is like, I think it's just like this. Let's see. Yep, that works. So we could even do PowerShell. I mean, I don't know why you would want to run PowerShell on Linux, but I definitely will judge you for doing this. Not just kidding. But let's see, PowerShell install on Debian. Let's try it. So I've done this before on another system. Let's do the direct download method. So let's create a script to install this. And yeah, it's called, okay, so it does, okay, pwsh, right, user bin pwsh. And let's do that. And let's get our syntax highlighting. Hello from PowerShell on Linux. Wow, look how slow that is. See, this is why I hate PowerShell. Terrible. So I think you get the idea. I'm not going to go through more languages, but you could use obviously whatever you want, as long as you install it on the tactical server. So how do we actually use this thing to run on the server when our alerts fail or they get resolved? So let's create some scripts for some server scripts that are actually going to run. So why the hell not? Let's use PowerShell because we just installed it. User bin pwsh, and we'll say this was to be a failure. We'll say write output hello, or say PowerShell failure on TRMM server. PowerShell alert failure on failure. And let's do another one for when the alert gets resolved. We'll call it on resolved. Resolved. So now let's create a script that will simulate a failure, and then we'll change it to resolved later. We'll start with the failure script first. So we'll say this script fails, and this is actually going to run on the agent. And we'll use PowerShell. This script fails, and then host set should exit 1. Just make sure I did that right. Yeah, okay, return code 1, good. Save that. Now let's create an alert template. And of course we already talked about webhooks and run script on agent, which was the previous behavior. Now here we have the run script on server, and so for the failure action we're going to use that PowerShell alert on failure. And then when the script, if it ever gets resolved, we're going to run the PowerShell alert on resolved. And then let's go ahead and apply this alert template to client 1 because that's where all my agents are. So we'll assign the alert template. And then let's just make sure we can see here that it is inheriting that alert template. And let's create that script check that's going to fail. So we'll do this one, the script fails. And we'll run it, and it failed. And then if we go to look at our alerts, we'll see that an alert was created, the script fails. And if we hover over this, it says show failure action run results. We'll see that there we go. That PowerShell failure on tactical server. So this is proof that the failure action was run. That PowerShell script was run on our tactical Linux server. All right. So now let's simulate. Let's simulate a resolution. So we'll go ahead and change this script fails. I'm not going to change the name, whatever. We're just going to make it return 0. We don't need to do that. I could just delete that. And then just make sure it turns 0. Yes. And then we'll run the script again. Run the script check again. And now it's passing. And if we go to our alerts, it'll be gone because it's already been resolved. So include resolved. And we can see that it was resolved. And then we have a new button here called show resolved action run results. And if we click on that, we'll see that the resolved script was ran. So of course you can still use all of our powerful scripting features in these new server scripts. I'll show you what I mean by that. Just a quick demo here. Let's look at we have anything in, we have this in global settings, global key store, we'll use this. Let's go back to our alert manager and let's use an environment variable. We'll say zmad123 equals, and then we'll do global dot that zmad123. Let's go back to our script. That was the failure script, and then let's just say write output env 123, I think I called it. And we have to make our script fail. So let's make our script fail. Or was it the script fails? And then host set should exit 1. I really hate this syntax, it's so stupid. Okay, now let's do this. Now it should fail. We should get a new alert created, and there it is, and hopefully, yeah. So there's their API key from global settings, global key store. Now let's do something similar for the resolve script. So let's do, let's say write output. Let's just do env client123. I just want to show you. Let's go back to here. Resolved, and we'll say client123 equals, and then we'll actually use the agent. Use agent.site.client.name. So that'll just give us the client name. Let's do that. Let's make the script pass again. Let's see if I did this right. Passing. Alert should now be resolved. And client 1. That is the name of the client right here. So just like the web terminal feature that was added, this is a kind of a dangerous feature. I mean, you are running scripts on your actual tactical server. So if you wanted to, you could disable this feature completely. And there is a new option here called Enable Server Scripts. It is enabled by default, but you can just disable it globally. And if we do that, and if we actually go now to Alert Manager, you'll notice that it is grayed out. You cannot choose this option. And of course, it is enforced on the back end. So even if somehow somebody managed to create one via the API, it still would not run because in the actual function, it checks for that setting. And then, of course, if we try to, yeah, it's disabled now because of that setting. And the same thing with the API. The API will not allow you to run it, so you cannot bypass the front end. Even though this feature is enabled by default, if you do have a limited role for limited users, you will have to go and grant them this permission. Otherwise, they won't be able to use this feature. And that permission is right here in scripts, run scripts on the tactical server. But if you are a super user, then it doesn't matter what is set here. You will have this permission regardless. We can also disable this from the config file, just like we did with the web terminal. So we've got some instructions in the docs on how to do this. If we use this variable here, and let's edit the local settings file, and we'll add that here. And then we'll restart these services. So now we've overridden this global setting. So let's just make sure that it still shows as enabled here, but it actually is not. So if we refresh and we go to Script Manager, and then let's try to, you'll see that it is disabled here. And same thing with the in the Alert Manager, you'll notice that the option is also disabled as well. So as you've probably already realized by now that, yeah, this is also a very powerful feature, and of course any powerful feature can be abused. And we've got a disclaimer here in the docs that's stating that. So think carefully if you want to enable this feature, and if you do enable it and you do have users that have limited roles with limited permissions, make sure that they do not have the ability to run server scripts or even create scripts for that matter. Which I'm hoping you don't have any untrusted users with those kinds of permissions already, because you wouldn't want those kind of people running arbitrary scripts or creating arbitrary scripts to run on agents. But just thought I would mention that. So yeah, think carefully before you enable this feature, and make sure if you do enable it, you have the appropriate permissions enabled for limited user roles. In this release, we also updated the version of Python that's included with the Windows agent. So the Windows agent ships with a portable Python distribution. It has been upgraded to version 3.11.9 on Windows 8.1 or higher, and for the server SKUs, that would be, I believe, 2012 R2 and up. Also documented the list of libs that are third-party libs that are included with the Windows agent. As you can see them here. And we added this SNMP lib, so that allows you to now monitor devices with SNMP, like printers and routers. So we'll do a quick demo of how we can monitor a device with SNMP. A new section here has been added to the docs, and we've got a sample Python script to monitor a printer. This was of course written by ChatGPT. I have never used this library, and this worked on the first try. So if you don't know how to write Python, or you don't know how to use this library, just ask ChatGPT to write you a script using the name of the library, and it should work. So we'll go and copy and paste this and try it out. Let's create a new script, Python script, paste that in. My printer is a Brother, it's black and white, so I'm going to comment these out because this isn't going to work. It only has black toner. And this does require an argument, which is the IP address of the printer. So go ahead and save that. Oh, could give it a name. Printer NP check. And let's try it out. Let's run a script. And it is 88.221. Oops, forgot to hit enter. There we go. So let's turn this into an actual script check so we can get simulate a failure and get notified. So let's just pick the device status, which if it's healthy it would be 2. So we'll come here and we'll say if name equals device status. So name is this, and then varbind 1 would be the actual value that's printed out. So we'll say and varbind 1 does not equal 2, and of course this will not fail right now because it does equal 2. So let's just say if it equals 2, that's not healthy. And this is a string, so I need to convert this to an integer, otherwise the comparison will fail. So we'll say print device is not healthy, and then we'll sys.exit 1 just to simulate a failure. So let's do a new script check. And this should fail. Yep, there it is. So right, device status, obviously it 2 is healthy, but just for this demo, it's not, right? Device is not healthy, return code 1, and then you could set up your notifications and alerts or whatever. Another setting that was added, you'll find in global settings a new section called receive notifications on, with 2 options, info alerts and warning alerts. Before this release, there was no way to configure this setting globally. You would have had to come here to an alert manager, create an alert manager, and here in the notification settings, you could select the severities that you wanted to receive a notification on, but there was no way to do that, for example, for like individual checks and stuff, or something that wasn't using an alert manager. So now we've added a section globally, and this will override anything on your alert manager. So previously you would get a notification no matter what, even if it was you had an info return code or warning return code, and I guess a lot of people didn't expect that. They expected not to receive notifications on these types of alerts, and that's why we added these settings. So let me quickly show you how it works. So I'm going to turn it on for now. Turn on info alerts to so that's like the previous behavior, and then let's just create a I've got a script that I made already. PowerShell, so just it exits 66. It says info return, and I'm going to put here 66 so that it's an informational alert, and this. So we'll run the check, and we'll see that it info return code 66. And of course I didn't select email, but if I did, and then let me reset the status just so we clear that, and we'll do it again. And then I'm not going to show you the email, but I will show you the alert in the database, just so you can see that the email was actually sent. So let's reset this again, and now we will turn this off. And let me just delete this. And let's do it again and run checks. Okay, info return code. But now, if we look at the alert that was created, we'll notice that the email was not sent. And of course, we can do the same thing with warning. So let's just do, I don't know, let's say 69 is warning. And then we'll edit this, and we'll say warning is 69. And reset this. So now it is in warning state, and we'll look at the alert that was created, and we'll see that the email was sent. And then we'll go ahead and disable it. So no more warning alert, no more notifications on warning. We'll reset this. We'll run the script. It is warning, and let's go look at the alert that was created. And you'll notice no email was sent. And as I said earlier, this global setting, it will override any other setting in the interface. So if you did have if you had something configured here where only email on this, on an info, but you have info disabled in global settings, this will take precedence.